Alright, what is up guys, Zero here, and today we are here to talk about the recent announcement for Zero. If you haven't heard by now, Zero has announced end of service for both global and for JP, so if you don't know what end of service means, it just means the game is done. The game will be discontinued, you can't log in anymore, starting June 30th I think, so you have 2 more months to play the game. But yeah, Zero, the game's done now. Writing's been on the wall, honestly speaking. JP has had no new content for 2 months. Global has announced the roadmap, quote unquote, on their calendar for this month, and turns out that roadmap led to a roadblock, and the game is done now. But yeah, the game is done. So here today I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts on it. Yeah, my thoughts on it. What I'm gonna do afterwards as a content creator going forward. So yeah, no script or anything. I'm just gonna ramble on for as long as this video is gonna go on for. So yeah, so honestly, I'd be lying if I said I was at least a little bit sad about Zero ending. Regardless of how much I've shat on the game, I can definitely say Zero has most definitely changed my life. Zero got me into content creating. It let me meet a bunch of people that I talk to on basically like a regular basis now because of Zero, and it's definitely been a positive quote-unquote impact on my life, aside from me actually having to play the game and being not very happy when I'm getting sacked at it. But regardless, Zero has definitely been a positive impact on my life, in my opinion, at the very least. And I definitely am sad that I won't be able to make content for this game anymore. This game was very, very easy, in my opinion, to make content for. It was a quote unquote free to play game, and as long as you as long as you were willing to talk, basically, making content like Deck and all that was pretty easy, I'd say. I definitely did not put a whole lot of effort into all my videos, to be perfectly honest. But people still watch them, obviously. I do get views on them, so obviously people still watch them, people still like the stuff, the stuff that I do. So yeah, Zero has been a very easy game to make content on for me at the very least, and I definitely do not see any other game that will be as easy for me to make content on as Zero. So definitely a little sad to see it go. But as for the game itself, I definitely think that there were many things they could have improved on. But I definitely do think the biggest reason why Zero as a game is dying is because of Game Studio themselves. And I think there's like a few reasons why, so I'll just quickly go over the reason why I think so. So the first one, very obviously, is how greedy they are. Before G, this game was very free-to-play friendly, and it was a game I could genuinely recommend to people to get started in, or to try, because the game was so free-to-play friendly. As long as you're willing to put the time into the game to actually play, you could basically get and finish every deck you wanted as a free-to-play player. Pre-G, I was, except for like the time that I like won a gift card for a Google Play for Japan, I was 100% free-to-play in this game, and that was something that was very easy to do because I was willing to put in the time to actually play the game, and because of that, I could finish every deck I wanted while without having to spend money on the game, and that's just how it goes. Like the game was very free to play friendly. Anyone could actually get into it. It was and the game basically just rewarded you for playing the game. It didn't force you to spend money or anything, and it was really good for that. But obviously, because the game was so free-to-play friendly, Game Studio probably was not making a whole lot of money because you just did not need to spend money on the game to get everything you wanted. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere that their sales were like really bad pre-G because the game was so free-to-play friendly for the players. And obviously, I understand that Game Studio is a company and they are trying to make money, but I think the way they went about doing it in G was the wrong way. They focused way too hard on the money and not the actual player base, because if you've noticed, like the instant we went into G, the game just went into a full-on like pay to win shitstorm. Like you basically, if even if you are super active, you grind it to like, let's just say like legend like 30ish, because I think it's like pretty good topping point for gens and stuff. Even if you grind it all the way to like legend 30ish every single season, you still could not get everything you wanted like you could pre-G. And even if we don't talk about getting everything, like let's just say you wanted to play like 1 or 2 decks out of every set. Even that was relatively hard for G because I'm not even saying I don't even think the box system was that bad. I think the main thing in G that really ruined the game was the crafting system. The GR mats were just way too hard to get for the average player, and because of that, the player base definitely dwindled a lot during G. Basically, you only stayed if you were like a really big fan of the game, like you're a really dedicated free-to-play player that like was willing to play the same deck over and over again for you were willing to play the same deck over and over and over again for however for like months on end. You're fine with playing yeah, basically you're fine with playing the same decks over and over again on months on end, and you're fine with basically either just building what you wanted or only building basically what you wanted to play yourself. So, and that personally, that just does not fly with me. I like playing different decks. I enjoy building like every deck if possible. So, me obviously, I spent money on the game. Obviously, I think that's pretty obvious at this point that I most definitely have spent money on this game. And you know, kind of sucks that I had to, but you know what can you do, right? I was also making content through all of G, so I definitely needed to spend money along the way because you know, if I don't spend money, I can't make content, I can't get decks, and you know, I enjoyed making deck profiles for the new decks every single month, and that was honestly the thing I looked forward to the most every single month in Zero was like, what decks can I do deck profiles for? What new decks are gonna like change the meta and all that? I genuinely enjoyed that. And you know, we don't have that anymore because Game Studio was a greedy ass company. And yeah, and near the end they did try to address it, but that was basically when the game was already like dead in the water. Near the end of G, they definitely did try to fix that issue with like the second wave of G start decks. The first wave of G start decks basically did nothing because that shit was also basically impossible to get because if I remember correctly, I think only we'll talk about globally, but basically, if I remember correctly, you only got them by buying them, and that obviously does not help. And they were not cheap either. Remember, they were like 7,000 yen or some shit like that. Like they were quite pricey, and they did not give you a whole lot of shit either in it. So that stuff was obviously a scam. But again, near the end of G, they gave you the second wave of G Start, which you could buy for 2,800 gems, and they were a lot of them were basically like more or less complete out of the blocks. You basically just needed to like whatchamacallit. You basically just needed to you basically just needed to buy 2, and a lot of decks were actually playable out of the box. In fact, I think someone in the global recent global qualifiers got like top 5 or ranked within the top 5 with like a Nuba G Super deck out of the box. So it just goes to show how good those G Super decks actually were. They were very good, very playable out of the box. And it really does suck that they chose to implement something like that late into the game when the game was basically already dying. I definitely think if they implement stuff like that earlier on into the game's lifespan, it would have helped, and it definitely would have let free-to-play players play more stuff, and that definitely would have helped like the longevity of the game, in my opinion. Because like if you look at those stuff, even if you just look at that stuff, you can tell that like a lot of those cards like are still, some of them are playable, but a lot of that stuff is still relatively outdated. So it's not like you're giving the players, like all the new cards for basically free, right? And because of that, I think it definitely could have implemented all that stuff earlier. Another way they could have fixed the game while still getting monetization is like every MOBA in the world, and they definitely just done cosmetics instead. I definitely think that if they just focused on cosmetics as the monetization option instead of actually locking all the cards and stuff behind a paywall, they definitely could have. They definitely would have helped the game out because you know, people like their drip, and people will most definitely buy like spend money on the game for nice looking sleeves, nice looking skins, and all that. Well, that's another thing, right? The skins in this game. There was no reason at all the skins in this game should have been boosting clan events at all whatsoever, in my opinion. I think the fact that the skins boosting or were actually used to gain cards in this game to a degree definitely should not have been the case. I think skins should have been purely cosmetics. I think the fact that skins being boosted for, or I think the fact that skins being paid only was fine in my opinion at the very least. That G medals, G skin medals being like, I think they're like $10-15 I think, something like that for a skin. I think that honestly is fine. It's just that they really should not have used those skins as a way to get cards more easily. And it's also really stupid how whatchamacallit, how if once they released the skin and once we hit G and X, they released another version of the same character. So just quickly, like basically like take Xion for example. I think like the very first wave of like once G started out, we got the original Xion skin, and then so we got this skin, right? We got this one, and then once we hit G and X, we got yet another Xion skin that was paid for. So I think that was really stupid too, because two different skins, same character, but at the same time, the old one was not boosted for clan events. So it was like, oh yeah, you bought the skin, you like this character, now buy it again if you want to have them look cooler, basically. And I think that's pretty stupid too. The fact that they did that for the skins. As I think one of the better ways they did monetize skins, I think the overdress skins were a pretty good way of them. They definitely could have locked those behind paywalls instead. I made them like, I think I remember they were like open 100 packs of a set, free or paid gems, and then you get to get the skins. I definitely think they could just lock those behind paywalls instead. Like, it's just a skin, it's not going to impact the game at all. They could have made those like open X amount of packs with paid gems, and you get the skin like that, and you could get them with free gems. I personally think that would have been fine. I'm sure other people would have different opinions of that, but I think locking a skin behind a paywall is definitely better than locking cards behind paywalls. What else? They definitely could have done like sleeves and stuff. I think something really good, cool they did on JP was the skin. It was a bunch of things that you global basically got for free. Like the for like the where are they? The probably the bottom. But basically the sleeves for the V series units. Or are they? Yeah, these ones. Like you see the bottom three here. I know global got basically all of them for free, I think, if I remember correctly. But JP, you need to like buy actual product and get codes and stuff like that to get these sleeves into your game. Same with this bank, the Yukino one here. But I definitely think they could have just made sleeves paid for, like a few bucks for a sleeve of like alt arts or something like that. I think that would have been pretty good for the game. Again, instead of monetizing cards, and instead of locking cards behind paywalls, just lock cool skins, cool sleeves behind paywalls. Alt arts are also a good way to do that. Whatchamacallit, like near the end, like with the Bermuda stuff, or I guess throughout G, because there was some like near like the like the swimsuit Olympians and all that stuff. I think that stuff was a pretty good way to monetize it as well. It made cards more easily accessible while still being locked behind a paywall, but at the same time, if you bought those, they would be an alternate art that you otherwise would not be able to get. And I think that is that was a pretty good way to do it too, because it solved multiple issues. It gave them a way to monetize cards without locking them behind a paywall, while also giving the players that are willing to spend some cooler looking cards, basically. And I definitely think they could have done more of that instead of, again, monetizing, locking cards, actual cards that you need to play the game behind paywall. So that's that. I don't think there's anything else too much I want to say about the actual game. The big TLDR is that Game Studios is a greedy ass company that prioritizes its sales, which I can understand, but they really just did not listen to the player base. Oh, I guess that's another thing, like actual gameplay wise. Game Studio most definitely did not listen to the player base a lot of times when they, because in my opinion there were multiple times where like the game needed balance changes and stuff. I think the biggest example of this was like Asha, Alt Mile meta. Those decks ran around being best deck in the game for way too fucking long. And they only addressed it like after who knows how many months, when the decks were already like starting to fall off a little bit. So you know, I think that definitely definitely could have dressed stuff like that better. But they weren't the worst at this, to be perfectly honest. They weren't the worst at this. There were definitely times where they definitely got off their asses and instantly hit stuff the instant they saw the problem. Like basically all the tier 0 metas, they have they've addressed the issue basically on the spot, which is pretty cool. Them do that. I still remember one of the really dumb ones was when Assman was like the meta dominant deck on JP, and they announced they would touch the deck in the middle of the month and then didn't actually touch the deck until the end of the month. So basically they announced nerfs and then we had to play with the dumb shit for a whole half a month afterwards after they announced it. So I thought that was pretty stupid, but you know, at the end of the day they still addressed the issue basically immediately, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely listening to playbase definitely would have helped. I definitely know for a fact that a lot of G players were not too happy with the monetization of the game either, so there's that. But yeah, I think that's all I have to rant. That's basically all I can think of right now to ramble about the actual game itself. I guess now I'll talk about like what I plan to do as a content creator going forward. So obviously once Zero dies, I won't be able to make content on this game anymore, but I did set a poll up yesterday asking if you guys wanted to see me continue to make Zero content until the game dies, and the vast majority of you guys wanted to see me at least finish off some of the decks that I haven't covered, so I will definitely finish covering set decks I have not covered yet on my channel. So like the plethora of fish decks, I'll probably try to do those. I've seen people ask for Gurgut, I've seen people ask for Asha and all that, so I'll try to cover as much as I can that I can actually care to cover, or at least I care to do a deck profile for. Maybe we'll do some fun stuff too, like Glendios or whatever, maybe more Gize decks, who knows. Like 2 months left the game, might as well get as much content out of the game as I can for now. So yeah, I'll try to cover as much of that as I can till the game dies. But what will I be doing after Zero goes into end of service? So I think the main thing I would like to see myself do would be TCG content. I actually do play a lot of TCG. When I say TCG, I do mean Vanguard. So I do play a lot of Vanguard IRL. Main format that I play is standard, so it'll probably mainly be standard stuff if I do choose to do it. And this will probably be some combination of like actual like IRL cardboard playing of cardboard. Could be CFA, could be Deer Days if that game doesn't fall flat on its face. It doesn't take like 30 minutes to find a game or some shit like that. So I'll see what I want to do with that. And other stuff maybe is like maybe whatchamacallit, maybe what was it, Duel Links. Yeah, maybe a bit of Duel Links. I have gotten back into it basically once they announced end of service. I have gotten back into doing Duel Links or playing some Duel Links, so maybe I'll play a bit of that game. But definitely, like, I definitely don't think I'll be as passionate with making content as I have been with Zero. So yeah, Zero really was a game that I genuinely enjoyed. For as much shit as I gave the game, Zero was a game that I did genuinely enjoy making content for, at the very least, because I personally found the content making aspect of this game very fun, and but also at the same time it was very easy. I don't think I'll have another game that I feel passionate when making content for that was also as easy as it was to make content for with Zero. So yeah. So that's it. I think that's honestly it. I can't think of a whole lot more that I want to talk about. So I guess I'll just finish this game off, and then if there's anything else I might want to talk about along the way, I'll just quickly ramble on about it. But yeah, this will probably be it. There really isn't a whole lot else I can think about that I want to talk about here. So I'll just finish this game off, I guess. Why not, right? But you know, I do want to hear what you guys think about all of this down below in the comments. about Zero going end of service, basically relatively fast too at that. And it really came out of left field. Like, you know, when a game company announces a roadmap, you don't think end of service. You think, wow, new content, right? But yeah, I definitely think that them announcing this, it honestly is pretty like obviously it was, if you just thought about it, it was pretty obvious that Zero was going to die at some point eventually. But like, you know, you announced roadmap. The other thing I was thinking maybe they might have done would be like whatchamacallit, would be like a server merge. That was something I was personally pushing for. I was like, oh yeah, you know, maybe they'll merge the servers, right? Like JP had no content for 2 months, Global was behind exactly for 2 months, so maybe they are just going to merge the servers together instead. And clearly that wasn't the case. So yeah, I definitely saw a server merge as a possibility. But clearly it isn't, because the game is dying now, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully they just die here so we can end the video. Ideally they just go poof here, no peach in the hand, please just die. Oh cool, game is over, right? Yeah, cool, game is over, video is over too. Tell me guys what you think about tell me guys what your favorite memory of Zero down below in the comments, because I definitely know that like my channel probably has like a bunch of long-time players, because if you didn't know, I was a day one player for JP. I played the game since the very start, so I definitely do have a few fond memories of this game. But yeah, tell me guys what you think, what your favorite memory of this game was down below in the comments, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.